there to all of you who are watching again our Election Viewpoints series here with the Steinbach Chamber of Commerce. And we are here today with Jake Hiebert, a council candidate for this upcoming election. Jake, thanks for coming here today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say around some of the questions that we are asking to all the candidates that come in, and hearing what you have to say about some business growth and business development here in Steinbach.
Excellent. Let's get going.
Let's jump right in. So the first question that I ask every candidate is around an economic development strategy. So what do you think is a good economic development strategy for the city of Steinbach to adopt in order to help grow business here?
I think the bigger question is, do we need an economic development? Why or why not? I believe there's a need, and I believe that the need is urgent. Okay. In order to maintain reasonable taxes in town, we need to do something. We can't just be stagnant and sit back like we probably have for the past 30 years in many areas. I look at our students that graduated this year. We probably had 400 students that graduated. How many of those students are going to be able to get jobs in Steinbach, and how many of those students are actually going to be able to get careers when they after graduation? I think we need to have available employment for them. And the thing, number three, that sort of scares me a bit is, are we becoming a commuter city? And in saying that, when I look at all the vehicles that go to Winnipeg every morning and return every night, if we turn into a commuter city, are places like Ildeshane, Lorette, Niverville be more attractive to the commuters than Steinbach? You're saving 40 minutes each way in driving. Yeah. I believe the prevailing message has to be to businesses across Canada, and especially in Manitoba, that Steinbach is open for business. I'm a little disillusioned when I'm talking to people, especially going door to door now, that they say Steinbach isn't open for business. I wanted to open a business. I tried, I applied, and Steinbach wasn't receptive to that. And I think we need to change that perception. We need to attract businesses that will provide employment for our young workforce, our educated workforce, people that are motivated and hardworking.
When, from your perspective, what do you think one challenge is that businesses deal with in Steinbach, and how can council help businesses through that?
I think what we need to do is we have to send a message out there, like I just said, that Steinbach is attractive and Steinbach is open for business. When we look at Manitoba, it's divided into 137 municipalities. 130 of those municipalities have development officers, and Steinbach does not. And that is of a big concern to me. We need an economic development officer that is willing to work with council, willing to work with the Chamber of Commerce, willing to work with other businesses in the community, and with the provincial government. I believe we need to piggyback onto the provincial government as they reach out to other provinces, as they reach out to companies in North America and even abroad to Europe. We need to get on board with them. And so I think it's very important that first off, that we get a development officer. We need to provide incentives and to these new companies coming, whether they're companies that are willing to relocate to Steinbach or companies that are willing to start up in Steinbach. I think it's important that we give them incentives in the area of taxes, and we give them incentives possibly in the area of utilities. We have a lot to offer here in fresh water and the landscape, all that kind of stuff. We need to make sure that the existing businesses that we have in town don't fall through the cracks. We need to ensure that we retain them, that they remain viable. When I look around town, we see the empty buildings, various places, especially when you come into town and when you drive along Main Street. I'd like to see those filled with viable businesses that are profitable and that encourage growth in our community and that are able to employ our young people.
Sure. So you hinted already at a few of them, but some strengths that Steinbach has for businesses. What are two strengths that you see here in the community for a business to be here and to grow, and how would council continue to grow those strengths?
Well, I think we have numerous strengths, much more than two strengths, but we're close to a major center, Winnipeg, which has an international airport. We have a reliable, large trucking firms in the community that are available to move and distribute raw materials to Steinbach and also transport new material out of Steinbach. Manufactured products. We have, like I said, we have utilities here, we have good roads, we have available fresh water, which are all attractive to many businesses. But more importantly, what we have, and I alluded to it already, we have a young, reliable, conscientious, hardworking workforce in our community and in the surrounding communities. We can't forget that there's a lot of people in communities right close to Steinbach that depend on Steinbach or could profit from being involved in Steinbach.
Mm-hmm.
We have a large number of people in our community that travel to Winnipeg, or young people that have moved for work to Winnipeg, that have moved to work for in other areas of Canada. We need to attract those and invite them back here. But the only way we're going to get them is if we have businesses. And so we need to work hard at getting businesses in town that not just are businesses, but that are employers of large groups of people.
Sure. Terms of council, if you get on council, are 4 years long.
Okay.
So when you, if you picture kind of what that 4-year window could look like in regards to a vision for the city of Steinbach, what do you see as a vision for the next 4 years?
A vision that I have, and again, I've gone to it, it's has to do with business. If we don't get new businesses in town, large employers of our youth and of our workforce here, we will fall behind. Mm-hmm. And I think like you said already, we need to fill the empty buildings, all the vacancies that there are. But how do we do that? Mm-hmm. How do we attract companies that are willing to manufacture, that have industry, that have retail, that employ large numbers of people? I think the last big company last large employer we had to Steinbach was probably the pharmaceutical company, and that's 30 years ago, and that was brought here by our member of parliament at the time, the Honourable Jacob. We need to attract more. Like I look at Low-End Windows, like approximately 10 years ago, they were employing, I think, in the neighborhood of 1,600 people. They went down to 200 and some. I think they're at 380 now or something. How do we make up that deficit? I would like to see in the next 4 years that we make up more than that deficit, that we have businesses come to town that possibly hire as many as 2,000 new employees. And we have those around. When I look at the surrounding areas, and like I said, the people that leave our community every day, we have more than enough people around to fill those vacancies. Right. So how do we attract those large businesses that will employ those 2,000 people?
Right.
That is something I'm looking forward to.
Good. And just to kind of wrap things up, Jake, is there anything else when you think of kind of the message you're trying to communicate to the people you're talking to during this campaign? Anything else you'd like to share with those people that might be watching?
Well, as you know, and as most people know in Steinbach, my background is public safety for the last 46 years.
Sure.
That's what I've worked for the federal government. And in saying that, I have a passion to ensure that our police department, our fire department, our bylaw officer, our paramedics are well equipped, and that they have an adequate police force to provide that service to our young people, protecting them, and also our most seniors, the vulnerable people in society. There's a big push. I would like to see us be able to attract medical doctors. Over the years, we've said the shortage we've had in medical doctors here as well. I want to see a council that will work in harmony with each other, and harmony with the Chamber of Commerce, and harmony with businesses. We need to, and that harmony includes honesty, integrity, transparency, to the point that we're able to do that.
Right.
Steinbach also concerns that people, when I'm going door to door, they're talking about the multiplex, they're talking about the Arts Council building.
Right.
How do we bring those things to fruition, and at what expense to the taxpayer? I'm looking forward to those entities bringing forth business plans to show how we can bring that to fruition, and what part City Council plays in that, in those plans. Last but not least, Council is working for the taxpayer, and as such, we need to be prudent, we need to be diligent with the taxpayers' money, and not to misuse that trust that's been extended to us. That's my pledge.
Well, thank you for coming and sharing your thoughts with us here today. And for all those of you who are watching, I encourage you to watch the other videos that we have on our site as well around the other candidates. And of course, go out on election day and vote on that day for the candidate you feel best represents what you'd like to see happen in Steinbach. So on behalf of the Steinbach Chamber of Commerce, thanks so much, Jake, and all the best.
Thank you for inviting me. Appreciate it.